meet the Prime Minister, and definitely there could be big agendas. Over to you, Gaurav.
Okay. So this meeting now starting in moments from now. India Today's Poulomi Saha joining me. Poulomi, is this being looked at as perhaps a new dawn? Centre will hear leaders from Jammu and from Kashmir and also talk about what the centre has been able to achieve after the 5th of August 2019?
That's right. The centre will hear all the political leaders in terms of the issues that they want to put forth before the Prime Minister and his colleagues who are present in this meeting inside 7 Lok Kalyan Marg behind me. But also, the centre is going to put forth its own agenda in terms of the path that it has chalked out for the development and progress of Jammu and Kashmir. In terms of confidence-building measures, that is going to be very key as far as the centre's proposal before these political leaders from Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. Of course, what we also hear is that the process of delimitation where it stands right now, remember that the Delimitation Commission has sought a year's extension on this exercise in the month of March this year. So in terms of where it stands right now, what kind of feedback they've got from the ground, from the district collectors who have reported back to the Deputy Election Commissioner and to the Delimitation Commission, all of that will be of course conveyed, because the centre is hoping to create a path of sorts leading to the holding of peaceful assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir. So this is strictly going to be the centre's vision as far as this meeting is concerned. Development in progress, confidence building measures on the one side, and then of course the process towards holding peaceful assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir where delimitation stands right now. Remember, when the Delimitation Commission met earlier this year, after of course it sought an extension, out of the 5 associate members who were part of the commission who were political leaders, only 2 attended, and they were from the BJP, MOS PMO Jitendra Singh and Jugal Kishore of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Dr. Farooq Abdullah, Hasnain Musadi. They did not, and other members, the other 3, the total 3, yes, did not attend that meeting. Only Dr. Jitendra Singh and of course Jugal Kishore attended that meeting. So clearly they had a sense of there's a fracture of sorts that Dr. Farooq Abdullah later expressed, saying the delimitation is happening as per what has been stated out.
Let me quickly also bring in Rahul Srivastav into this conversation, Poulomi, because it's extremely important that D word paves the way for the road ahead in Jammu and Kashmir. Delimitation. That delimitation exercise is currently underway. Justice Ranjana Desai and her team, they are interacting with all the district collectors. And Rahul Srivastav, what is it that the centre hopes to achieve with this exercise, and what is the time frame?
Gaurav, what top sources in the government are saying that if an electoral exercise has to resume in Jammu and Kashmir, they will have to look at what time elections can be held. Now, if you look at the next election which is due, is Uttar Pradesh sometime February, March. Now, that sources are saying could well be very close to the finalization of a delimitation exercise. And that is why an exercise which is closer or along with elections in, say, Gujarat and the other states is a broad timeline that the centre could be looking at. And what the centre is looking for, Gaurav, is what is called the regional aspirations in terms of rationalization of significance of reasons as far as the representation in the assembly is concerned. And for that, there have been several voices, especially from the Jammu region, that Jammu always has had a rough deal as far as the significance in terms of the electoral representation in the assembly is concerned. And that is one of the key challenges ahead of the Delimitation Commission, is that how to balance the regional aspirations in case people in Kashmir feel that Jammu is being given a sense of a slight upper hand or an advantage. There could be adverse impact. And that is why it is going to be an extremely tightrope walk for the Delimitation Commission, and from there on for the holding of election in Jammu and Kashmir.
Very interesting aspects that you raise, rationalization and regional aspirations being met. And Poulomi, this is where Jammu is hoping that they will get more seats, because when you look at the current breakup, in the 87 seats, you have 46 in Kashmir and 37 in Jammu. 4, of course, in Ladakh. Now, Ladakh is a separate union territory, but does Jammu hope that it will get the same number of seats when this delimitation commission moves forward with its report?
Absolutely, that is the hope that the leaders from Jammu have, in fact, the Jammu region have in fact expressed, that there will be, as they say, equitable distribution of seats, because they do believe that the population in certain seats of the Jammu region is much, much higher in comparison to seats in Kashmir. And that is why they're hoping that the proportion of seats in the distribution that happens as part of the delimitation process. Remember, the process of delimitation aims to take the number of seats in the future Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir from 107, 111 if you counted Ladakh, but minus Ladakh right now, from 107 to 111. So 7 more seats are to be created out of the demography of Jammu and Kashmir. So they're hoping that there is better distribution. In fact, very interestingly, some BJP leaders have also pointed to the fact of the number of reserve seats in erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, and what they hope, as per their own calculation, after the delimitation process and exercise is completed, based on the census of 2001, this is happening, they hope that that number will go from 8 reserve seats for only SCs, there were no seats for STs, from 8 to 25. So that is what they're hoping, and much of these seats are likely to fall in the Jammu region. So that is what they're hoping this delimitation exercise will achieve, Gaurav.
Crucial chief Jammu and Kashmir meeting set to begin at Prime Minister Narendra Modi's residence. Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, Dr. Jitendra Singh, he's to invite all for this meeting. He will initially give the welcome note. He's also a member of Parliament from Jammu and Kashmir, someone who's been very closely involved in this current exercise. And in this exercise, the effort is to gradually move forward. Biti tahi bisar de, aage ki sudh le. That is the effort. Will that succeed or not remains to be seen. But the fact, Rahul Srivastava, that all the leaders who were invited for this meeting are here from Kashmir and from Jammu. Look at this list. So you have Farooq Abdullah, Omar Abdullah, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Mehbooba Mufti, Muzaffar Hussain Beg, Yusuf Tarigami, Altaf Bukhari, Sajjad Lone, J&K Meet, Nirmal Singh, Kavindra Gupta, Tara Chand, Ravindra Raina and Professor Bhim Singh. Whoever was invited is here, represent Jammu and Kashmir, and voices that believe in the Constitution of India. So everyone will speak out, but perhaps focus on the road ahead, Rahul.
Yes, Gaurav. One of the most striking elements of the troublesome region has been its democratic connect to the laws and the Constitution of India. And the names that you have cited are those people who have gained a certain constitutional position in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, as laid down by the Constitution of India. And that is why, after the law of what happened on the 5th of August 2019, when Article 35A was removed and 370 was defanged, it was a virtual breakdown where most of the top leaders, barring somebody like, say, Ghulam Nabi Azad, who is from the Congress fold, and Bhim Singh and others, were virtually under house arrest. And in that, the leaders, it seems, over a period have realized that the terms of engagement, Gaurav, had changed. The terms of engagement prior to 5th of August 2019 were completely different. Now it's a very different matrix under which Jammu and Kashmir is ruled, in which the center has a huge say. In that scenario, in the changed terms of engagement, these parties have realized that the best option out is not pure resistance, but also a democratic resistance and a negotiated resistance. And this is perhaps this spirit of negotiated resistance is being shown by them, that not one of them have said, I'm boycotting. Not one of them said that I will like to stay away because the center is not giving in as an assurance that they are going to discuss our top demand that Article 370, 35A and others should be restored in terms of their constitutional powers as they used to be. And that is why the government sees this window of opportunity. Now, you said that Dr. Jitendra Singh is going to make a presentation. Now, in this presentation, Gaurav, I am told that all the benefits that have accrued, the funds that have flown from the center, the kind of gains which have been made in terms of law and order, in terms of assistance and schemes and projects which have been rolled out, all that is going to be rolled out by Dr. Jitendra Singh as an indicator that this is the ground on which we stand today, and we can build on it as far as a democratic exercise is concerned. There will be no assurance from the government, what we are told as far as statehood is concerned, but the buzz will be, the underline will be that let's move towards what can be an electorally governed Jammu and Kashmir, if not today, but slowly by the end of sometime next year.
Okay, so that's the time frame you're talking about, that big story that we were just talking about. India Today has the inside track of what's going to happen in moments from now at the Prime Minister's residence. Dr. Jitendra Singh, to make a brief welcome address, as Rahul Srivastava was just telling us, will give an outline